Oh, seems like I have a few people who've already joined. This is scheduled to go live at 12. I was just checking a few things out. But if you guys got any questions, please let me know. Happy to answer them. Get started. I'm going to be giving a first day PowerPoint on how to bulletproof your research question, and then we'll be doing a workshop as I take your questions. There is a bit of a delay. I think about 8 seconds of delay. Make sure all the slides are loaded up here. All right. Okay, any questions? So, those of you who have joined, like to tell me where you're from. Let's see who we have here. Last time I did this, there were people from literally all over the world: Nigeria, Senegal, India, Germany, Ireland. So I would definitely want to get to know you and where you're from and what's going on. Safi Lula. Safi Ula, help me on the pronunciation of your name. How are you? We'll be, oh, you're welcome. Happy to be here to help. If you want to go ahead and ask any questions, be happy to get started answering them. Where are you from, Safi Ula? Hello, from Thailand. I'm not quite sure how to say your name. Medusa Titans? Is that right? I've never heard that combination of words before. Medusa, of course, from the Greek myths, and Titans, the gods who predated the Olympus gods. Yeah, we'll be getting started here in about 10 minutes. Oh, okay, so I got it right. Well, thank you. So, should I call you Medusa or Titans? Salufa is from Afghanistan. Well, I'm very glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're safe. I'm glad that you have an internet connection. Are you studying at a university? Oh, great. Well, thank you, Salufa. Well, I appreciate that very much. I hope that I can add to that knowledge in whatever way that you need. So be sure to ask for whatever you need, and it shall be granted to the best of my ability. So I can call you Medusa or Titans, okay? I think I'll call you Titans. For those just joining us, this is a live stream on how to bulletproof your research question and anything else that you wish to talk about. We're about 5 minutes before we get started here. In the meantime, you're welcome to say hello, to identify yourself in the chat window, and to tell us where you're from. I did a live chat on Sunday, and just as today, there were people from all over the world. So far, we have Titans from Thailand and Salufa from Afghanistan. Salufa is working on her MBA. And here we have Tosif from Dubai. So welcome, Tosif. Tell me a little bit more, if you will, about what you're studying and what level you're at. That will help me today, because certainly if you're on the graduate level, your needs in a research question will be quite different than someone on the undergraduate level. So Salufa is working on her thesis. Where are you studying, Salufa? Safia, help me with your name. Safia Lua. So Tosif teach undergrads, and he's also doing your PhD in your second year. So you're getting ready for your dissertation, Tosif. What is your field of study? I'll just say Safi, And Tosef and Titans, what are your fields of study? Safi is a Master of Business Administration. By the way, I teach in a MBA program here in the United States at the Jack Welch Management Institute. So that's pretty much what I do almost every day, which is to speak with MBA students. Tosef is doing a PhD in marketing. Very interesting, on consumer behavior. That is also a subject that I help MBA students with at Jack Welch Management Institute. Oh, well, great, Tosef. You know, the literature review for a PhD dissertation is different than a literature review for an undergraduate. A literature review for the undergraduate is what my lit review video was aimed at. If you want to talk a little bit about a literature review for a thesis or dissertation, let's do that. Because the emphasis when writing a literature review for a dissertation or a thesis is upon how that previous research that you find in the literature review is related to your topic. Also, in the thesis or dissertation literature review, you're looking for a research gap. And it is in that research gap that you will place your research question and indeed your entire research effort. So there is much more synthesis and commentary in a literature review for thesis and dissertation students. However, the kind of basic techniques of putting it together, those are what I tried to give in that undergraduate-oriented video. Safi is from Payam Nur, a university in Kabul. So you're in the capital. What language is your instruction in, Safi, in your university? Farsi? English? I'm kind of interested in the kind of language you're hearing all day long in your studies. Titans is a veterinarian. So you're a getting an MBA in marketing. Do I have this right? Yes. Okay, Tosef has a question. I read somewhere, and let me put your question up on the broadcast here so that everyone can see it. Tosef, I have a query. I read somewhere that in a qualitative study, we use research questions. In a quantitative study, we use a hypothesis. I don't think that's exactly correct. Let me, however, preface my answer by saying that whatever your school and your dissertation committee tells you to do, that is exactly what you should do. And I say that because standards and practices and methodologies vary greatly from school to school, even from research committee to research committee. Having said that, Tosif, here is how I would unpack your question. A hypothesis in a quantitative study is the equivalent of a thesis in a qualitative study. So that's where the overlap may be occurring. Qualitative thesis, quantitative hypothesis. A research question is pertinent and intrinsic to both a qualitative study and a quantitative study, generally speaking. Okay, so Safi's school is done in Farsi. Interesting. So you probably speak, Safi, maybe 3 or 4 languages, if I'm understanding correctly. H asks a question. Let me put your question up, H. Is it okay if the total number of students are 120 and you do your thesis on 60 students? My first reaction is, and I welcome any other comments on H's question, that you can delineate the sample size that you wish. Whatever sample size you find appropriate for your study, and especially the kind of methods that you're going to use to analyze that data. I'm assuming when you said the total number of students is 120, when you say that, you're meaning that you have access to 120 students, yet you're going to limit your sample size to 60. In general, I don't see any problems with that. You might want to check with your advisor and justify why you're cutting your potential sample size in half. And there might be very relevant reasons for your cutting that sample size in half, having to do with the kind of data analysis that you're going to perform, the amount of time that you have, whether a survey is going to be involved. Certainly a survey for 60 students is far less difficult to deal with than a survey for 120 students. But yeah, if you're doing 50% of the total population, I think that's a pretty good sample. Oh, you have access to 60, I see. Well, then you have access to 1/2 of the pool, of the potential pool size of participants. And half is a in this case, it would seem to be a very strong sample. Well, I think we should probably get started. Let me run through this PowerPoint. It's not very long. Safi asks, how do you organize ideas? You're welcome, H. Safi asks, let me put this up. How do we organize idea in a problem statement? I'm trying to think here. A problem statement, it is usually not more than 1, 2, 3 sentences, some kind of, it's a pretty short paragraph. And in a problem statement, you usually begin with a broad overview, of the topic at hand, then an explanation of the scope of the problem, and then how your research addresses that problem. If I'm understanding your question correctly, the problem statement is usually part of the research proposal. Is that what I'm hearing from you, Safi? You're writing the problem statement portion of your research proposal? Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and start this PowerPoint. Feel free to ask any questions as I go through this. Um, I'm really kind of questioning whether I should do this at all, since everyone here is a graduate student, and this PowerPoint was geared toward undergraduates. But I'm thinking maybe you can pick up a few things with this technique that I'm going to show you. So let's go ahead and get started. What is a research question? I think you probably already know the answer to that. However, let's recall the importance. There's an ancient Chinese proverb that says, the longest journey begins with the first step. The research question is in many ways your first step. And you want to make sure that first step is on solid ground, not off a cliff. In its simplest form, a research question is simply a question about your topic that you're going to answer in the process of doing detailed research. So as a result, it is very important that you observe the difference between a search question and a research question. A search question asks a simple question and looks for a simple answer. For example, what is the speed of light? We can find that answer at almost the speed of light with a simple Google search. So that is a search question. You're looking for a research question. And a research question is one that requires many points of view, many answers that can be synthesized into a whole. Here's some examples. The search question. Again, these are just simple research questions for demonstration purposes only. They illustrate a technique. A search question: can an emotional support dog improve life for cancer patients? That's a simple question that can be answered with a yes or no. You're going to find lots of materials about support dogs and healthcare, but what direction, what focus does that research have with a yes or no question? It doesn't. Instead, a research question would ask it in a way that generates a list. In what ways does an emotional support dog improve life? Now you've got a list. Way number one, it improves life. Way number two, it improves life. Way number three, it improves life. So that's what you're looking for. The phrasing of a question that allows the generation of a list. Even before you begin your research, you should know the general list that you'll be pursuing. Here's another example. How much did world population grow in the 20th century? The answer can be found very quickly with a Google search. The answer is 7 billion. But how can you turn that into a research question? What fueled world population growth? Now, with that what, you now open yourself up to multiple answers. Factor one that fueled it, factor two that fueled it, factor three that fueled it. And once you have that general list, you can begin your research. And as you start your research, you may find that you have to narrow your original research question. If the original research question is what fueled it, and you start coming up with answers like, well, there were advances in medicine, advances in sanitation, advances in nutrition, and you suddenly realize, wait a minute, I cannot cover advances in medicine and new sanitation and nutrition all in this one project. I've got to narrow it. So you choose one of those three to focus on. Now, what advances in medicine fueled world population growth? That's a bit more manageable. You can talk about medical advance number 1, 2, and 3. Antibiotics, sterilization, x-rays, whatever the medical advances are. There might be 4, 5, or 6 of them. I'm just doing 3 here as a memory device. There are also times when you have to broaden your research question. If you start off with, how did aspartame, that's an artificial sweetener, affect postmenopausal women in the 1980s who suffered from migraines, you've got a problem. That is far too narrow to find any legitimate, wide-ranging, multifaceted research. If you wanted to do a survey, if you're doing qualitative, good luck on finding any of those postmenopausal women still alive. It's also narrow because you're focusing on only one artificial sweetener, aspartame. But let's broaden it a little. How does aspartame affect women, all women, who suffer from migraines? Now, that is probably a bit more manageable. And depending upon what you find out, it might be just right. But more importantly, you've asked it in a way that generates a list. Effect 1, effect 2, effect 3. Okay, now I want to hear from you. Does online writing advice, what I'm giving today, have any effect on adult students? That's you. If you wanted to use that as a research question, how would you rewrite it? Give me some ideas in the chat window. Rama, if you're still here, I don't think that the live chat stopped. At least I hope it didn't. You may have had a internet issue on your end. Okay, let me hear from you. Revise that statement. How can, there you go, H, I love it. And that would result in what list? Way number 1, it can help by giving confidence. Way number 2, it can help by giving individualized instruction. Way number 3. And Sydney has also an excellent research question by using how. Way number 1, way number 2, way number 3. Excellent. Excellent. That's what you're looking for. That's the technique I have to share today. What ways, Tosef? Way number 1, way number 2, way number 3. Excellent. Okay. Here's another one. Do medications alleviate symptoms of ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder? How would you translate that into A research question that develops a list. I know we have about an 8-second delay, so be patient. Back to Sop while we're waiting on answers. Back to Sophie's question here. She's talking about how a position statement, problem statement, excuse me, should be organized. And again, I think that's the kind of general organizational pattern that I gave you would probably serve you well here. You do have to remember your entire goal in your research proposal is to convince your research advisor, your dissertation committee, that this is valid research and you should be allowed to do it. Oh, Tosef, how does medication? Exactly. How effectively? Excellent. Okay, you guys got it. To continue with Sophie's question, I think the general outline is you do have to introduce the topic and its background. And this is just a problem statement. And then you show the problem that you are addressing. This is often called the research gap, the research need. And then how your research, your design, and your methods would approach or handle that problem. Okay, back to the PowerPoint. I think we've got those. Let's cover these traps quickly. You want to avoid the unanswerable questions. How can humans be so cruel? Does the afterlife really exist? Are humans innately good or evil? You simply can't go there. You want to avoid questions that result in expressing an opinion. Opinions are not valid in academic research, nor is a dissertation or thesis that is designed to support an opinion. The research begins with a question and arrives at answers, whatever answers those may be, without opinions. And then the why, oh, why. I have yet to see a very good research question that begins with why, because now you're dealing with motives. And it's very difficult to look inside someone's mind or someone's heart. Here's a little checklist. Make sure that you're in good communication with your thesis or dissertation advisor and with the committee overseeing it. Make sure that you have solid written approval. Be sure to get it in writing if you can of your final research question, your final research proposal. Get that approval before beginning. Make sure that your research is going to be driven by objective questions and not personal causes. For example, you may feel very, very strongly that protections for coral reefs in Australia should be strengthened. That's your passionate cause. You have to put aside that and focus just on the objective research about protection of coral reefs. And it has to be answerable within your research design and method. In other words, there has to be a close correlation between the research question you're trying to answer and the methods by which you're going to answer it. And that's again where your approval from your dissertation advisor and committee is so important. And then finally, feasible. Feasible in terms that you have the skills and knowledge to do this, but also time, resources. Are you going to have to interview 60 people? I believe one participant today is going to be doing interviews. Are you going to need other personnel to help you conduct those interviews or collate and analyze that data? And of course, what equipment that you would need, whether it's testing equipment or internet equipment or uh, programs such as Microsoft Word or any design programs that you're going to be needing to formulate your surveys or anything else. So that's my kind of little PowerPoint on the whole thing. Let me go back here. By the way, those were some good answers. You guys definitely got the technique, and as well you should have because of the level that you're on. Let's see what other questions we have. Oh, okay, yeah, I understand. H says that's exactly why uh, he or she chose. I don't know whether H is a male or female. Chose only 60 and not the total. Yeah, that's a significant sample size. Okay, any other questions at this point in the chat? Have about 15 more minutes in which I have another meeting. I also conduct weekly live chats with the students at the schools where I teach. Sydney, where are you from? We have participants from Thailand, Dubai, Afghanistan. Looks like H is from Korea, judging by the symbol there. Are you from Korea, H? Canada. Oh, Canada. You're welcome, Sydney. Great to have you. What level are you studying at, Sydney? Okay, Joseph has a question. Let me put this one up. Would you consider making okay, I'm sorry, let me read this again. Sorry, Joseph. Would you consider making about all the ology under methodology? Can you give me a little bit more on that question, Joseph? I'm not quite sure. Okay, yeah, if you give me a little bit more information on what you're asking there. So H is from Algeria. Okay. Sydney is studying at Trintu. I'm not familiar with that school in Canada. Yun Lee is from China, and thank you very. By the way, you guys tell me if you're regular watchers of my videos. Tell me what additional videos that you would like. Oh, and Tosef just did. So Tosef would like a video explaining the different ologies. That's a good idea, Tosef. I'll definitely do that for you. Let me write that down. I'm assuming that you want an explanation of videos of in that video you want an explanation that of epistemology, ontology, etc., that relates to research. Is that correct? H, do you make videos live every week this time? Yes. Yes, H, I do. Every Tuesday at 12 o'clock Eastern U.S. time until further notice. H would like videos on types of academic articles. Okay. Tell me some of the article types, H, that you are referring to. For example, in the social sciences, there's the prevalent article type there is a quantitative study. Explaining types are and how to write them. Okay. Okay. I used to be for 10 years, I was an editor at a magazine and a book company in America. So I actually wrote a book about how to write articles. So I think I'll be able to borrow from some of my past research on that. Sydney, your video saved me with an assignment that I was lost with. What assignment was that, Sydney? Pratik, how to target high impact journals. Pratik, I can tell you that right now. I will go ahead and answer that right now. How to target high impact journals. First, number one, read at least a year's worth of the journal that you most want to be published in. Make notes of exactly the kind of articles and the kinds of subjects, the kinds of research that they publish. And then you go and do the same. Now, if you want to write a proposal first, this is often called a query. A query is often a good first start before you do the research. So in other words, you read these back issues of a journal, you get in your mind exactly what they want, and then in a query letter, it's called query, Query. In a query letter, you propose this article topic, and the purpose of the query letter is to get a, quote, go ahead on the article. It's not a firm commitment, but the editor is telling you, yes, I'm interested in that. Yes, you have successfully targeted my journal. How to choose a suitable topic for research in a day. Sure, you begin broad and then narrow it down with a research question in the manner that I just demonstrated in this PowerPoint. A topic must become a question before it can become a thesis or a hypothesis. Okay, H, I got you. Okay, thank you. H is saying that he's particularly interested in types. Now, are you interested in article types in magazines or in academic journals, H? Sydney, you had to use Chicago, so you must be in the arts and humanities. Is that correct? Or history? And it was your first time hearing about Chicago, but you're from Canada. I thought you surely would have heard about Chicago. Okay, Pratik, you're welcome. Let me know if you have any other. Okay, so H, you're interested in targeting academic journals. Gotcha. Thank you. Okay, Yi Yun Lee, did that answer your question? How to choose a suitable topic for research in a day? That will be a pretty long day, because after you have your research question, you will need to do some preliminary research. Oh, okay. High school in Jamaica. I was the editor of a scuba diving magazine for many years. And so spent a lot of time in the Caribbean islands, including the lovely island of Jamaica. Pratik. Oh, now there's a good one. How to overcome writer's block. I actually have a video on my channel about writer's block. And I would need to know what is blocking you to help you individually. However, Pratik, the primary cause of writer's block is not being ready to write. In other words, based upon what it is you need to write, there are probably preliminary steps that you need to accomplish before you can really begin putting words on paper or words on a page. Now, that's one type of writer's block. The second type of writer's block comes from fear of the blank page. And the cure for the fear of the blank page that is causing writer's block, the cure is very simple. It's writer's cramp. And here's what I mean by writer's cramp. Whenever you're blocked because you have this kind of dread, awkward anticipation, insecurity, the best thing you can do is not to open up a Word document, but to open up a scratch pad if you're on Mac, or a notepad if you're on Windows, and close your eyes and start typing. And you do not worry about grammar, mechanics, organization. Whenever doing this, it's called free writing. Whenever doing this free writing, your goal is to simply loosen up or free up the thought process and get some initial thoughts down on the page. Okay, you're welcome, Lee. Okay, I'm glad that worked. I'm Iman. Nice to see you again. You helped me since 10 years with your video literature review. You're welcome, Iman. And please tell me, Iman, any other videos that you would like to see, and any other video questions that you have. We'll be meeting every Tuesday at 12 o'clock. APA. Sydney, let me tell you about APA. All of these style guides are the same. And my approach and my recommended approach to you is the same. And that is, go to a good academic library or download the free PDFs that I provide in my videos that has a list of all the templates from APA in text and reference, a list of all the templates from MLA in text and works cited. And you simply pick one and follow it. That's all you have to do. MLA and APA have the same in-text citation format, except without the comma. It's author page and MLA, author year and APA inside parentheses. So that's a given. For the reference citations, find a set of models. And again, I provide a PDF that you can download in those videos. And if you email me, I'll be happy to email it back to you. And just pick a template and put your author here. They say, okay, I'll put my author there. The template says put the year here with a period. Okay, I'll put my year there. You just follow it. This forum does not have a DOI. Okay, so I won't put a DOI. It's that simple. H. I didn't know how to defend my topic, so I ended up with another topic. Didn't know how to defend it. Do you mean you didn't know how to research it? Because the defense is what comes later, right? That blocked me for 1 year. Wow. Because I wasn't motivated with the new topic. We need to talk more, H. I need to know more about what you meant by not being able to defend it. If you meant oral defense, that's one thing. If you meant I couldn't find research materials, that's another thing. I need to know what you meant. And this is your PhD thesis. Sydney asked, where can you locate the, if you go to my videos on APA and MLA, I provide links in the comment section, but you can also just email me. Do you guys need my email address? Let me put it in the comment section here. I just posted my email address. Oh, I see, H. So your research proposal was rejected. So the next question is, why was it rejected? And did they not give you the chance to revise your research proposal? Yi-Yun Lee asked, can people be trained to do research? Yes, Yi-Yun Lee. Supposedly, one of the disciplines that you are taught when you enroll in a master's or PhD program, you are taught to do research. That's what you are paying for. Now, if you have a completely hands-off program and you're expected to do it on your own, no problem. There are plenty of videos and other instructional materials which tell you how to conduct research in your particular field. But never, never, never let fear prevent you from doing anything. Pratik, I am writing my thesis on pharmacology, but I found myself stuck and narrowed to a broader topic or distracted to some other topic. I mean, how to make a flow while writing a thesis or an article. Well, I would need to know, thank you for your question. I would need to know where you are in your thesis. Have you already done your thesis proposal? Have you already done your problem statement? Have you already done your research question? If not, that's where we need to begin. Rama, I found it difficult to understand epistemology and positivism. Okay, sure. Yes, absolutely. I will add positivism. Positivism was a field of philosophy begun by Bertrand Russell. Bertrand Russell, the English philosopher, based upon mathematics back in the early 1900s. It basically says, if it cannot be proven by math, it cannot be proven. H, they said it would take too much time, so you can't do it, and they offered me 2 other topics. Yeah, if it was going to take you too much time, it seems like you could have simply narrowed the focus of the topic and still kept the same topic. Again, I would have to have the full details on what your topic was and what you actually proposed to them. Oh, Tosef, yes. I have a video on how to write an abstract of an academic journal article. And in that video, I take you through step by step what an abstract of an academic article consists of. It's almost paint by the numbers. The first sentence should do this in the abstract. The second sentence should do this in the abstract. The third sentence should do this in the abstract. It's a paint by numbers approach. And I'm assuming you're writing this in APA style. You're welcome, Lee. Supposedly, your research advisor, your thesis advisor, supposedly the professors at your school are there to support you. And by all means, tap into your resources there. Yes, H, you can continue to alter that focus until it is approved. That is correct. Joseph is writing in Harvard style. Okay, H, Harvard style is the prior version of APA. APA is actually based on Harvard. And that reminds me, I have a script for a video on Harvard style, and I need to do that video. Any other ideas for videos that you guys want to see and that would be helpful to you? And then I've got to sign off. I think I'm already late. Okay, any other requests for videos before I sign off? Well, thank you, Joseph. I appreciate those kind words very, very much. And I enjoy working with graduate students. As I told you, I teach MBA students, and you guys are my absolute favorites because you're so dedicated to your field and to achieving excellence in your academic careers. Here you go. H, how to analyze survey data. Okay. I will attempt that. It's been a long time since I analyzed survey data. It's been a long time since my statistics course, too. Okay, guys. Brief illustration. Can you brief about illustration? Are you asking how to use illustrations in an APA article? Okay, Lee, thank you. I need a little bit more information, Pratik, to answer that question. Punctuation. Okay, David. David, what particular parts of punctuation is it? Commas and semicolons, I'm assuming. Okay, so Pratik, if you want to use an illustration in your research article, depending upon the style guide, you will find very specific instructions about their size, their captions, how they're listed in the table of contents. There are very specific instructions in the different style guides. I'm assuming you're doing the APA style guide, and I will put that down. As APA. Oh, you want the hyphen? Okay. David, the hyphen and the dash are often confused. The hyphen is a mark of spelling A hyphen is only used in spelling. A dash is an informal version of the colon. The dash and the colon have the same uses, except the colon is formal and the dash is informal. But a hyphen is used only in spelling of words. So I get you want a video on that? I'm happy to do it. Okay, guys, I need to get out of here. I got another chat to get to. Thanks to everyone for coming. As soon as I end this broadcast, after YouTube renders it, this broadcast will be available on YouTube as a video. See you guys later.